Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very warm welcome to the Champaka School's Class of 2021 pre-graduation ceremony, an auspicious event annually held to mark the end of schooling years for the Champaka Damansara pre-university students. Today is a very special day as we hold our very first virtual graduation ceremony amidst our ongoing battle to combat our unseen enemy during this pandemic. Champakans, as we today are minding our physical distance from one another, we remain united at heart and in spirit, which marked this ceremony as the first ever Champaka virtual graduation ceremony, truly a historical event in our Champaka history. I, Bhavisha Kaur, A-level class of 2021, am honored to be your MC for this auspicious morning. This ceremony will begin with the IBDP Valedictorian speech and honoring the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program class of 2021, followed by the A-level valedictorian speech and honoring the Cambridge A-level class of 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, we begin this ceremony with our school song, which will be sung by Benjamin Kong, A-level class of 2021.
Champaka megah berdiri tahun 83 bulan Januari, bersatu berdisiplin dan berdikari, melahirkan generasi yang berhemat tinggi. Kami semua anak Champaka, berbilang kaum, bangsa dan agama, bersatu mencapai cita dalam perpaduan. Harapan ayah bonda dan juga negara, berkaliber dan berdedikasi, itulah prinsip guru-guru kami. Mendidik dan membimbing sepenuh hati, meninggikan prestasi pengajian kami. Champaka, oh Champaka, harum semerbak merata-rata, hijau dan kuning warna gemilang, kejayaan diutamakan. Marilah, mari bersama, mara maju ke hadapan. Majulah, oh Champaka, hingga berzaman. Majulah, oh Champaka, hingga berzaman.
Thank you, Benjamin. Ladies and gentlemen, Champaka School's International of 20 21 valedictorian, Muhammad Sulaiman bin Muhammad Rizam. After Champaka, he hopes to pursue his tertiary education in data science at Heriot-Watt University, despite receiving multiple offers from the Russell Groups of universities from the UK. We shall now hear his speech.
Good morning to principals, teachers and fellow batchmates. I, Muhammad Sulaiman bin Muhammad Rizam, IBDP class of 2019-21, am extremely grateful to be elected as this year's valedictorian. In all honesty, I never thought of attaining this recognition, as my focus was just to do my best. IBDP is truly a rigorous program to undertake. The journey was no cakewalk, but it has helped me and my peers grow in many ways. As a Champakan, the educational background has always been competitive. We come out of IGCSEs aiming for exemplary grades. In the case of IB, importance is placed on achieving excellent grades alongside developing balance with other salient components. This difference in learning intrigued me. These components include theory of knowledge, a constant regime of CAS, the stressful extended essay, and numerous internal assessments that stretch out across months. Starting the first week of IB, our batch was hit with this wave of information and secondary tasks that were expected of us. As someone who preferred to resolve tasks ASAP, I immediately questioned my sanity for joining this course. But ironically, over time, I began adjusting expectations and slowly found myself enjoying my time in IB, taking pride in assignments and projects completed both individually and alongside peers. The uncertainties of the COVID-19 pandemic left numerous educational institutes shuttered, resulting in the abrupt halt of campus classes and breaking our co-curricular regimes. In light of this, it's no surprise that our cohort had an abnormal learning experience than those before us, as we embraced a year's worth of IB in the comfort of our homes. Periodically, the notion of comfort became dissolved with the stress of forming strategies to complete our CAS, EE, and IAs. Being here today with my batchmates marks the end of our IB journey, and that we have faced the adversity of COVID-19 with perseverance, showing our adaptability and determination. With this, I would like to give a round of applause to my batchmates, Arjun Kitan, Rachel Wong, Samantha Yo, and Sruta Kirti. As mentioned prior, the pandemic left us crippled in terms of access to school resources, especially for science students such as myself. This meant waiting long periods before returning to school and rushing to complete experiments, given the undeterminable MCOs. As such, the EE was an irksome thought that persisted throughout IB at home. I brought home lab apparatus to initiate data collection, but after multiple exhausting attempts and failures, doing it at school proved necessary. Thankfully, my official request to Encik Isham and Sheikh Zakia for an exception to allow my experiments during school break was approved for a maximum of 3 days. With Chempaka's strict SOPs, I devised methods to hasten and fit the process into said period. Thus, I resorted to requesting my good friends, Adrian Ng, Bradley Xavier, and Ryan Wong to help me work on the experiment simultaneously under Miss Chu's patient supervision. In the end, with Adrian working on microscope, Bradley washing apparatus, and Ryan being Ryan fooling around with the computer, we were able to knock out 3 days worth of work in 6 hours. Despite some uncontrollable factors and unfortunate mishaps, an exceptional majority of data was collected. Furthermore, Ms. Chu was kind enough to offer us a ride to grab late lunch near my home. After all that's happened, I was extremely grateful by the kindness shown by for the people around me. I couldn't have completed IB without their assistance. From this process, I realized that strong bonds between friends and lecturers are precious. But some people believe that enduring everything in solidarity works for them in the long run. But personally, it's nice to have friends to bounce off opinions, share emotions, and establish comradeship. Amidst the failures scattered throughout the process, having good lecturers and friends by my side kept me focused on the goal. Though the failures were discouraging, I never stopped looking for the positive side of what I'd done. Seeing myself produce the full write-up and convey my findings to the IB community felt amazing. A weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I'm sure my batchmates felt similarly. After describing the EE, I feel it's necessary to mention of Chempaka at Home. While many feel that it lacks in certain aspects, Chempaka at Home remains evident that we got to continue learning on Chempaka at Home and keep ties with our lecturers. On that note, I'd like to thank all my teachers for going above and beyond to keep communications interactive and informative whilst aiding our projects and CAS. Speaking of CAS, this IB component has changed my worldview, encouraging me to undertake tasks wholeheartedly with a level head. CAS may initially appear tedious, given the required incorporation of time with deadlines and leisure activities, but as that may be, it's also critical in shaping our personality and mentality, bringing us closer to those around us. In CAS, I experienced and enjoyed service as it helped me develop a stronger sense of humility. I experienced activities such as teaching English and maths to students and adults, making protective aprons for frontliners, and helping at soup kitchens. Up till now, I feel very fulfilled with myself being able to give back to society. While these were very inspirational to me, I feel that our CAS project, Spread the Cuteness, was most memorable. It was one of the best experiences in my life. I experienced several new events such as playing in the snow, feeding giant pandas, and sprinting up the Great Wall until exhausted. Moreover, I was also able to deepen my relationship and friendship with my seniors, a quirky bunch with big brains and bigger hearts. We played in the snow, took cringeworthy pictures and videos, played cards and Brawl Stars, and shared our past. Joshua, Jonathan, Yvonne, and Natalie, along with Miss Man, helped me to open up and assisted in my Mandarin practice during the trip. Despite feeling unsure of how to interact with the other members, I believe I managed to contribute to the CAS project, developing important qualities such as leadership, responsibility, and open-mindedness. In essence, Spread the Cuteness was the main factor in easing my transition from IBGCSE to IBDP. My reflections during the lockdown reminded me to cherish every moment made in the past. Equally as important as bonds, experience teaches us to learn from mistakes, strengthening our minds and hearts. The CAS project helped our small group of 5 individuals gain confidence in socializing with each other, breaking the silence in the classroom. After all that I've said, I'd now like to pay tribute to all the wonderful individuals that were vital in aiding this cohort to success. Thank you, Ms. Jasmine, for earnestly guiding us through our numerous Paper 1 practices and IOAs. Your support as my English teacher has truly been a blessing as you coax me to develop more analytical mindsets when viewing different texts. I hope to pass on your teachings down to my brother. May he experience the same informative classes that you have given us to survive English in the future. Thank you, Ms. Patel, for pushing us to think outside the box during discussions and when forming the TOK essay. Nowadays, I find myself inquiring about different findings or statements and searching for information to come to my conclusions. Thank you, Mr. Tan and Dr. Attar. We really appreciate both your efforts for wholeheartedly sharing the full scope of maths and physics. You have certainly elucidated the diversity of these subjects when applied interchangeably. I'm grateful, Mr. Tan, for all your patience in reviewing my lengthy IA drafts and sharing your insightful perspectives. Dr. Attar, I'm thankful for your care throughout IB, clarifying complicated topics as my teacher and personal tutor. Thank you, Puan Nora, for continuously overseeing that our progress, reflection write-ups, and slip-ups during CAS were kept in order. Safe to say, we all had fond memories of the China trip, establishing bonds between seniors, each other, and teachers. I intend to take part in more community service during the university once these MCOs are over. Hopefully, we may meet each other at some. Thank you, Ms. Chu, for always making classes enjoyable and informative with your slides and passion. The amount of patience and care you have for everyone is immeasurable. On a personal note, you have taught me chemistry since IGCSEs and have seriously helped develop my interest and appreciation for science. I'm most grateful for all the time that you have made to help me in discussions and lab sessions. I pray that you and your family have a blessed future ahead. Thank you, Ms. Man, for teaching us Mandarin wholeheartedly. I've been your student since freshman year, and after 6 years under your guidance, I managed to learn a lot about global issues, vocabulary, and skills. I'm grateful for all the remedial classes and oral practices you've given. Despite my essays and discussion points being weird or incorrect at times, you always supported and believed in me. Even after IB, I'll continue to use all that I've learned from you and apply them in daily life. I'll also remember to drop in a message and chat with you in Mandarin too. 谢谢老师. Most importantly, thank you to our parents and family who have showered us with love, support, and prayers every step of the way since day one. Thank you for always tolerating our stressed out moments and reassuring us. In a few weeks, we hope to obtain desirable results that meet both your and our expectations. It's been memorable, Alhamdulillah. May our future endeavors bring us to greater heights and make you all proud. I would like to conclude this with a final message to my peers. We tend to put great weight on our academics. This needs to be balanced with our emotional and social intelligence. IB is served in solidifying this mentality, but how we nurture these qualities moving forward is what matters. What you can do now, reach out and do it. Times are uncertain, but what is certain is how you see things and act on them to progress. You have a choice. Be brave, choose wisely. Fortune favors the bold. Remember that there will always be someone willing to support your choices no matter what the situation faced. Congratulations to the IBDP class of 2019-21. With blood, sweat, and tears, we did it.
Thank you, Sulaiman, for your inspiring speech and words of wisdom. May your shared wisdom motivate fellow Chimpakans to strive for their best, as truly nothing is impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, Chimpaka School's IBDP class of 2021's student recognition. We will now proceed to honor our graduating IBDP students. It is with great pleasure that we invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk Frida to award the recognition to our graduating IBDP students. The personal tutor will have the honor to read his or her ward's citation. IBDP class of 2021, Arjun Ketan. His citation will be read by his personal tutor, Dr. Atar.
Arjun is friendly, soft-spoken, and very courteous. He impressed all of us well-balanced young adult who can manage to perform well both in academics and social welfare activities. Arjun is a great thinker and always curious to resolve mysteries. No wonder he has proclivity for coding and programming. Arjun is adaptive, natured, and patient, are ideal in learning new skills. On behalf of all the teachers, we wish Arjun all the very best in your future endeavors and pursue as you embrace new beginnings. As an adult, remember that nothing is impossible.
Muhammad Sulaiman bin Muhammad Rizam. His citation will be read by his personal tutor, Dr. Atar.
Throughout my teaching career, I encountered very few students like Suleiman. He is simply dynamic in his unique way. His remarkable academic and extracurricular achievements testify to him as figurative Chimpakan who nourished his mind, body, and soul. It is believed that Suleiman would be a useful asset to the community due to his terrific potential and individual. In my opinion, Suleiman is made to preserve nature and his passion is to be an environmental data scientist. On the behalf of all the teachers, we wish Suleiman all the very best in your future endeavors and pursuits as you embrace new beginnings as an
Rachel Wong Yen Ye. Her citation will be read by her personal tutor, Ms. Chu Chia Ling.
Rachel is a careful and creative thinker with an eye for details and a devotion to logic. She has embodied the fine character of strong inquisition and industriousness in learning, which has gained her significant academic success in the IB diploma program. Rachel is not only an excellent student, but she is also personally delightful. I am impressed by the wide range of her abilities and her modesty about them. Despite her achievements, Rachel is a humble person who always receives feedback positively. On behalf of all the teachers, we wish Rachel all the very best in your future endeavors and pursuit as you embrace new beginning as an adult. Remember that nothing is impossible.
Samantha Yo Zi Yen. Her citation will be read by her personal tutor, Mr. Luong Tan Tan.
Samantha has proven herself to be enthusiastic and helpful both in and out of class. Not only is she a serious and responsible student in class, but she also takes part in extracurricular activity. Samantha has also demonstrated the leadership quality and teamwork throughout her time in Champaka School. Aside from such activity, Samantha is volunteering to teach English under charitable organization Pak Payong in Kuala Lumpur. She is also tutoring science to lower secondary students. On behalf of all the teachers, we wish Samantha all the very best in your future endeavors and pursue as you embrace new beginning as an adult. Remember that nothing is impossible.
Sruta Kirti Saginidu. Her citation will be read by her personal tutor, Ms. Reshma Patel.
Kirti has truly upheld the broad and balanced values of the rigorous IB diploma program, which has shaped her confidence during her enrollment. Not only does she possess meticulously deep analytical skills, she also outshines herself as a compassionate individual with an intrinsically zealous nature. It is a pleasure to have been her personal tutor throughout these 2 years of IBTP that she partook in Cempaka Damansara. On behalf of all the teachers, we wish Kirti all the very best in your future endeavors and pursuits as you embrace new beginnings as an adult. Remember that nothing is impossible.
Thank you, tutors. And thank you, Dato Frida. Ladies and gentlemen, Cempaka School's Cambridge A-Level Class of 2021's Valedictorian speech. We continue today's ceremony with the Cempaka Cambridge A-Level Class of 2021's valedictory speech. It is with great pleasure to introduce to you the Cempaka A-Level Class of 2021 valedictorian, Arif Bin Hafizi. After Cempaka, he hopes to pursue his tertiary education in engineering at the University of Cambridge, UK, on top of receiving multiple offers from other UK Russell Groups of universities. We shall now hear his speech.
Yang Bahagia Datuk Fida Pilos, principals, teachers, and friends. I don't think this needs to be said, but the way my cohort started our A-level course was very different to how we're ending it now. For instance, just look at how you're listening to me today. I would talk about the sudden shifts in environment, stress induced by prolonged lockdowns, as well as the fear and uncertainty spread by the ever-changing COVID-19 situation in Malaysia. But I'm sure everyone listening has already experienced this. We've all had our own personal struggles in these times. So, I prefer to take a different spin on our scenario and say something a little different. Our year had an A-level experience like none other in history. In June of 2019, us Cempakans had just finished our IGCSEs. We had a wonderful prom night and finally got a breath of fresh air from months upon months of studying. And then July came along and our A-levels programs unfortunately started. To add insult to injury, this was a month earlier than our peers who went to other institutions. Despite this, there was still a lot of excitement towards the upcoming course. Who are the new students joining us? What are the teachers going to be like? Can I finally wear whatever clothes I want to school? And I, like many others, had a certain preconception which has been the downfall for many, many students, past and present. I only have to learn 4 subjects? This is gonna be easy. Our first 6 months of A-levels were actually quite peaceful. The greatest challenge faced by any of us was deciding where we eat lunch, and that answer was usually Humble Chef anyways. We had more freedom than we ever had before, and as you might expect an overly self-confident group of teenagers to do, we abused this freedom to our heart's content. Even if we had realized that our actions had consequences, I don't think we would have predicted how weighty this misstep was going to be. Not only did our grades gently slide down a slope made from negligence, but we had another, more pressing issue coming up, which would exacerbate our already existing problems. That being the entirety of 2020. It was March when it first started. Everyone got the news that Malaysia would enter its first lockdown. Most were definitely on edge regarding the sudden outbreak of the virus, but some weren't too worried. After all, the MC was only going to be for 2 weeks. What's the worst that could happen? As many services swapped online, so did our classes. The work area of the average teacher changed from a regular classroom to that of a Twitch streamer. Us students also took full advantage of the situation and renovated our own study areas. Simply put, phones and a few other electronic distractions began sneaking their ways into lectures. If you were excited about being able to ditch standardized uniform moving into A-levels, then oh boy, were you ecstatic about what you could get away with now. At the start of Cempaka at home, I would set my alarm to ring exactly 2 minutes before class started, because that was exactly the amount of time required for me to turn on my laptop and open Zoom, all from the comfort of my bed. Unfortunately, with teachers soon catching on to this and new rules mandating the activation of my webcam, there had to be a change in tactics. Thus, I drew up a plan. By simply wearing my regular school clothes to sleep, I could pretend to be perfectly prepared for learning while still saving those precious few minutes of rest. Instead of getting away like a normal person. Yep, great valedictorian, I know. Alas, as AS and even more ominously, the greater A2 began approaching, I had to face the fact that my methods, although extremely comfortable, weren't creating as conducive an environment as I'd like. My grades were practically breaking the sound barrier going down that slope of negligence. So, with a heavy heart, I had to say goodbye to my bitten pillows and began to sit up straight with a pen in hand. Without a doubt, I had a much better experience swapping to the online system than the majority did. The sudden change felt intrusive and unnatural to many. However, I couldn't help but feel a sense of familiarity during our online sessions. Yao was still interjecting every other sentence with his own thoughts. Miss Tang was still nagging at our work attitude. And Q was most definitely still asking an excessive amount of questions in hope of stalling lessons until they ran out of time. Sure, the scenery and environment was entirely different, but the essence of what made our classes so hectic yet oddly endearing was still present. This was because at the core of any cohort is its people. They are the spirit of which any community lays its foundations on. And although this year's class doesn't have many people, trust me when I say that these people have a lot of spirit. Our abnormal relationship and atmosphere stems from the fact that everyone gets along rather well with each other on the surface, but deep down secretly holds a multitude of grudges and varying opinions of each other. Although this would normally spell out disaster, there's a strange beauty to this chaotic mess of a friend group. Rather than a team which immediately gels together, we have flaws. We're individuals with differing ideologies and thoughts, yet we can still put our differences aside and simply have fun. There's a hidden mutual understanding that none of us are alike, but we've all agreed that it doesn't matter how dissimilar we are. We'll face the challenges along our path together. My experience simply would not be the same without this crew to liven up the mundane and daily grind which is studying for A2. One difficult to overlook classmate, the confidence-filled Q. If you've met Q, you might have heard some of his bold claims. Some famous lines include, "Further maths is easier than normal maths," or, "In my previous school, I completed 100 meters in 11 seconds, nearly as fast as an Olympian." And let's not forget, its iconic phrase said a few weeks before A2. "I'm not getting a new calculator because I have mental maths." We should all be grateful to him. After all, if he didn't give himself a handicap in our exams, the rest of us would stand no chance. Next, Annie, Babisha, and Chloe, the only girls in our year. This impossible to separate trio can usually be spotted recording themselves dancing in the back of the class. If not there, then you can find them conversing in between or even during lessons. Sometimes, if you're trying to be more discreet, they'll text each other and then turn around to share glances and reactions. Nope, you guys really weren't fooling anyone. Another noteworthy crowd in our cohort is the anime-obsessed duo of Imran and animal-enthusiastic Yao. Being the only other students who still took further maths, they are my only witnesses to the generous number of additional classes Mr. Sam gave us. If film recommendations is what you're after, these gentlemen will gladly point you in the right direction. Given you might have to endure a lengthy explanation on why Yao's opinion on any show is the law. If your thoughts don't match his, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're wrong. A close companion to the previous two is Mikhail. If you're looking for someone to discuss music with, he's your guy. Mikhail is probably the student with the greatest overall academic improvement over our 2-year study, which is a big testament to the hard work he put in. Despite this, I am obliged to reference one of the greatest moments in our A-level career. No, Mikhail, a curve is not a straight line. Due to our batch being one of the rowdiest, a counterbalance to all the chaos had to be born. That oasis manifested itself in the form of Idam. He's the reason any of the teachers are still standing today. Despite his more reserved persona, Idam can get quite passionate about topics that really interest him. Our regular lunch break discussions will consist of simple conversations about his favorite games, upcoming and recent shows, as well as several ongoing attempts to convince him to have his name changed to Aloysius. Come on, Eden, cave in already. Our 10th classmate, last but most certainly not least, our friend Benjamin. I have to thank you for helping me prove that I can become valedictorian, even if I secretly played video games in the back of the class with you every lunch break. Sorry, teachers. You're a reliable friend who I can trust. I'll never forget our time spent in Starbucks working through math revision, or our time spent building a cardboard fort amongst the bookshelves just to create the ideal environment for watching Netflix. So, to use your own words, congratulations, Mr. Smash Professional. Students weren't the only voices in this headache-inducing ride of a course. Let's not forget the unfortunate teachers tasked with dealing with our insanity, all in hope of helping us pass our exams. Miss Ng, our horribly overworked A-levels coordinator. If it weren't for your constant nagging and endless stream of past year papers, I wouldn't have survived my chemistry paper 4. So although I am very grateful, I am also very sorry for not finishing the never-ending pile of homework you gave us. On the opposite side of the spectrum, a teacher who can't stop looking for opportunities to take on even more work, Mr. Sam, a teacher with no boundaries. Weekdays, weekends, or even holidays won't stop him from holding maths lessons. Imran, Yao, and I won't forget how you single-handedly saved our FP1 by making us realize how horribly, absolutely unprepared we were for major examinations. To Mr. Lee, we will miss your physics lessons, filled with us trying to get you to say the number 8 and the letter H. We're all hoping to see another one of your written movie reviews, or see you on the big screen as an Olympic marathon runner. Next, Miss Amy. I've been in your class since I was stuck sitting in between Bradley and Jaden a millennia ago in Junior 1. If it weren't for the plethora of times you made me volunteer to MC, I wouldn't have the confidence to say what I'm saying now. I'm so happily awaiting the day I can finally battle your bamboo-powered kid for the prestigious prize, being the name Arif. Although I didn't have the privilege to be taught under them, I'd like to extend my thanks to Mr. Tiru and Mr. Manzoor. Even just sitting in during my free periods, I could feel the liveliness of a class led by Mr. Tiru, and to this day, I'm still amazed by Mr. Manzoor's ability to seemingly concoct arguments for anything out of thin air. Lastly, thank you to all the family members of this class. You've had to deal with a lot the past year, given we're at home now more than ever. Mom, Dad, Hannah, Hakim, and Beebs, thank you for making it your job for taking care of this brat for the past 18 years. I'd love to pay you all for all 161,904 hours of unpaid overtime, but sadly, I don't have that kind of money. And don't worry, I had already written this part long before you guys started panicking about if I'd remember to include you all. It's now June 30th. We've somehow bumbled our way through the past 2 years and reached our long-awaited graduation day. In a few months, we'll all be doing our own things. Will we meet up? Will we keep in contact? Well, I don't know. We'll have to find out for ourselves. Our journey has been quite unique in comparison to others before us. Seriously, who else can say they risk getting infected by a deadly plague just to attend an hour-long paper? How many other years can relate to the absolute agony of a bad internet connection during a lecture? Who else got to experience the anxiety induced from the fact our exams could have been cancelled at a moment's notice? Yep, no one except us. In this pandemic, we keep reminiscing on what we used to be able to do, how we've had opportunities and experiences taken away from us. But instead, let's just take a moment and fully take in what we still have. We've still got our friends. We're still the same people who stepped onto the Link Bridge in 2019. And what we definitely have now is a lot of memories forged in this burning train wreck known as the past 2 years. Although we wish we could bury some of those experiences, it's all of them as a whole which have turned us into the people we are now, and I quite like how we've ended up. So, until the next time we're all forced into the same room together again. See ya!
Thank you, Arif, for your insightful and heart-tugging speech. May your words guide us and the future Champaka Pre-University
Thank you,
graduates
Arif, for your
as we chart our
insightful
journey
and
onto the next phase of our lives.
May your words guide us and the
Ladies and gentlemen, Champaka School's Cambridge A-Level Class of 2021's student recognition. We will now proceed to honor our graduating A-Level students. It is with great pleasure that we invite Young Berbahagia Dato Frida to award the recognition to our graduating A-level students. The personal tutor will have the honor to read his or Kong Lim On.
I have known Aiden for more than 2 years, and I would rate his academic performance as exceptional. He is always present for class, very focused, hardworking, and well-disciplined student. Always helpful and willing to help his fellow mates. It has been a pleasure for me to be able to teach and assist Aiden in his study as a student and a young man. I feel confident that he will be very successful in all his future undertakings. Good luck and all the best, Aiden. Remember that nothing is impossible.
Arif Bin Hafizi. His citation will be read by his personal tutor, Ms. Mei Lin.
Arif is a curious, hardworking, and courteous student in class. He is determined to master every topic presented to him. Throughout his time studying A-level with Champaka, his academic achievement has been impressive. Whether in class or the science laboratory, Arif is good at working with other people. He loves to help his classmates, be it in explaining a difficult concept, homework completion, or volunteering in school function. Arif is always ready to lend a helping hand. It is a joy to have him in school. On behalf of all the teachers, we wish Arif all the best in your future endeavors and pursuit as you embrace new beginning as an adult. Remember, Arif, that nothing is impossible.
Bavisha Kaur-Gill. My citation will be read by my personal tutor, Ms. Amy Kasmani.
With dedication and teachability, Bavisha has shown her strength to adapt to the demands of learning and demonstrated good progression in academics. With her eloquence in speech and vast experience for over excellent channel, for her to share her wisdom was no exception. It has been a pleasure to act as a personal tutor throughout her rewarding years in Cempaka Damansara. On behalf of all the teachers, we wish Bavisha all the very best in your future endeavors and pursuits as you embrace new beginnings as an adult. Remember that nothing is impossible.
Benjamin Kong Wen Shen. His citation will be read by his personal tutor, Mr. Manzoor.
I've known Benjamin for over 3 years as a personal tutor and a subject teacher. Benjamin is a quick learner. He is articulate in his speech and has good interpersonal skills. He asked good questions and his curiosity will lead him to continue to ask more. He actively participated in sports and extracurricular activities, serving the school as a team captain for Frisbee in 2019. He also won a gold medal for the Wiffle Ball in Games Carnival 2020. As you embrace new beginnings as an adult, remember that nothing is impossible.
Chloe Chin Wen Lee. Her citation will be read by her personal tutor, Mr. Samuel Locke.
I have known Chloe Chin for over a year in my capacity as her personal tutor and subject teacher at Champaka International School. And based on her grades, attendance, and class participation, I rate her academic performance as excellent. Chloe is a young lady with many talents. Chloe Chin is a well-mannered, polite, and articulate person. She always appears calm, collective, and cheerful. She always helps her peers in math subjects. On behalf of all teachers, we wish Chloe all the very best in your future endeavors and pursuits as you embrace new beginning as an adult. Remember that nothing is impossible.
Imran bin Idam Sabki. His citation will be read by his personal tutor, Mr. Samuel Locke.
I have known Imran for over a year in my capacity as his personal tutor and subject teacher at Champaka International School, and based on his grades, attendance, and class participation, I rate his academic performance as excellent. He has a strong passion for mathematics and mechanics. He enjoys the challenges that come from tackling difficult mathematical problems and thrives in such situations. With perseverance, intelligence, and conscientiousness, Imran is expected to excel in the field of his interest. On behalf of all teachers, we wish Imran all the very best in your future endeavors and pursuit as you embrace new beginning as an adult. Remember that nothing is impossible.
John So-young. Her citation will be read by her personal tutor, Mr. Manzoor.
Annie enrolled at Champaka Damansara in July 2019. I've known her since then as a personal tutor and a subject teacher. She has a humble and caring personality. Though she was one of the quiet students, she showed great interest in the class discussions. I'm sure her friends appreciate her for her cheerful and bubbly personality. She is also musically talented and has learned to play the piano and violin from primary to secondary. Exploring her passion in arts, she also loves to paint and draw. On behalf of all the teachers, we wish Annie all the very best in your future endeavors and pursuits as you embrace new beginnings as an adult. Remember that nothing is impossible.
Kyu Hyun Choi. His citation will be read by his personal tutor, Mr. Manzoor.
I admire Q for his intellectual curiosity. He asked smart questions and showed a great desire to learn new concepts. In the past, he has received multiple excellence awards for science competitions. He has an interest in public speaking and has won an oration prize for his speech on the protection of freedom. He enjoys taekwondo and martial arts. Overall, I rate him an all-rounder. On behalf of all the teachers, we wish Q all the very best in your future endeavors and pursuits as you embrace new beginnings as an adult. Remember that nothing is impossible.
Mikhail bin Azril Rizal Yusuf. His citation will be read by his personal tutor, Mr. Thiruchelvam.
Mikhail has been a Champakan for more than a decade. He practically grew up here in the school. He is a very focused and self-motivated student. He's the kind of student that is, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. He has definitely matured since I first met him back at the start of AS in 2019. He's a pleasant and well-disciplined student, very active in extracurricular activities. He participated in multiple school activities, sports, CPAC productions, just to name a few. He's very passionate about volunteering too. It has been a pleasure for me to teach Mikhail. Good luck in your future undertakings, Mika. Remember that nothing is impossible.
Ryan Wong Yao An. His citation will be read by his personal tutor, Ms. Ng Mei Lin.
Ryan is focused, self-motivated, and a student full of curiosity. He has shown a responsible attitude, be it in class or out of the classroom. He asks questions about anything and everything that he does not understand in class. Ryan manages to give equal attention to all his subjects, and he has never failed to hand in any work given to him. He is good at pulling together information from different sources, and it is amazing to see him using the simplest method to solve a complex question in his work. Well done, Ryan. On behalf of all the teachers, we wish Ryan all the best in your future endeavors and pursuit as you embrace new beginning as an adult. Remember, Ryan, nothing is impossible. Thank you.
Thank you, tutors, and thank you, Dr. Frida. Champaka Pre-University Class of 2021, congratulations, we've made it. We persevered with grace, flexibility, sheer endurance, and adaptability. Champakans, as our time in Champaka draws to an end and we look back to all the hardships and challenges of adapting to changes, to online learning, to stay motivated, and most importantly, to come out strongest ever, we would once again like to thank our beloved parents for their love and support, our dedicated teachers for their tireless efforts online and offline, our head of programs and principal for all of your guidance and wisdom, and to our beloved founder, Dr. Frida, for your devotion towards our education. Amidst fighting this pandemic, we are persevering and we are coming together even stronger than ever to stand united despite staying apart. Thank you, all Champakans, for making this battleground a truly cherished phase of our life, and this momentous event shall be treasured for the rest of our lives. Once a Champakan, always a Champakan. We did it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure we invite young Berbahagia Data Frida, our beloved founder, to deliver her closing address.
Good morning, Champakans and class of 2021. And thank you very much, Bhavishna, for being the MC today. Yes, this year, last year, this year, we are going through something that we have never gone through before. But we are here, like what Arif said, we are lucky we're still here today. Now, I would like to say something about the white flag. You know, people in the country now are all suffering. People got no food, no jobs, no money, you know, and maybe feeling rather down, depressed, and we hear about people committing suicide, you know. So the white flag is a symbol of asking for help with dignity. So they hang their white flags outside their houses. And now if you do see this, do give a helping hand. Maybe you have something extra at home, give it to them, you know, because I think it is a situation now, many people feel that it is rather hopeless, they feel helpless. So if you can help, reach out to all these people. And we must come together because we are all Malaysians. Now in school, I think if you've gone through sports, you've gone through performance on stage, swimming, swimming, you know, during swimming gala, playing games and studying in class. It's all about about discipline. Yes, you must have discipline. For sports, for instance, or games, you have to plan out, you have to keep fit, and you must have some kind of discipline. And I'm sure all of you, first I must say congratulations, all of you, you know, you have made it, through 2 years of very tough work, A-levels and IB. Yes, the last of your high school. But we always say nothing is impossible. So you've gone through it, you've made it, and it must have been tough, but you have made it. But you've made it because you are disciplined. And even so now, during the pandemic, we're all in a lockdown situation, many days at home, school at home, you know, doing your own work. But you had the discipline. You had the discipline to go through it. So with that, I must say congratulations. Now, I also think that with that, if you look at our school motto, we talk about bersatu. We talk about being united. We do things together. Now, if you look back at your school life during sports games, sports carnival, and during games, don't you think that you've done things together? Yes, you've done things together, you've worked together, you worked on the strategies, and then each of you would have something to do, you know, and you work together, bersatu. So that's very important. Even now, I'm sure when you did your exams, you did your work, you know, at home to prepare for the exams, you must have been in touch with your teachers, in touch with your friends, and you work together as one team, you know, of class 21. Now, we talk about berdikari. Berdikari is about being yourself, doing things on your own, you know, being independently a learner, being independently doing things for other people, you know, thinking about other people, thinking about yourself, thinking about your friends, but you do it yourself, you know, reaching out to other people. So berdikari is very important, that you have to be independent yourself. Self-independence is very important for you to be able to do a lot of things. Now, I would like to talk about what in life, you know, when you've gone out from school, you go to university, and then you start work. Now, it's the same thing. You still must have discipline. You still have to work together, because in any organization, you could be the problem if you do not know how to solve your work, your own responsibility. So therefore, the sum of all these people working in an organization, doing their work responsibly, actually makes the whole organization. So you must look at yourself. Am I the problem? Am I the solution? Can we work together and find a solution? So that's what you must do when you start work and when you look at your life. Don't be the problem, be the solution. And if you do have problems, reach out, because you cannot solve things. Sometimes you cannot solve it alone. You need to have, you need help from the family, from your friends, from your colleagues at work. So that's the how you get on with life. Now, I would like to tell you about what I'm reading this book now by Nelson Mandela, about him. And then somebody asked him, what is it that has made him a good leader and a good statesman? And he said that he learned this from his father. He used to go out to the village, and the father will talk to the people there. And then the father said, the most important thing to do is to be a good listener. And how do you become a good listener? You just keep quiet when you go to a meeting or anywhere. Just listen first. Do not nod or do not show disapproval. Just listen and take in what other people have got to say, their ideas and so on. So you should be the last to talk. Now I've learned this too, because I like to be the first to talk, and also in between, and now I must learn to be the last, because he said that when you are the last to talk, you've got the advantage of listening to other people, listening to their problems, to their ideas. Then you can then come up with your own thoughts, and then you can come up with something that you think you can contribute to the discussion. So remember this, always listen and be the last to talk. And Nelson Mandela also, he's a great man, a great statesman actually, because he brought freedom to his people. But he always said, when it's time to go, you go. When it's time that you've done your work and you think that other people can do the work better, you leave. So he was a great statesman, Mandela. So a lot of people look up to him. And I would suggest that you read this book about Mandela, about his life, how difficult it was, and what a great statesman he was, how he actually mentored a lot of young people in his party, and so on, So, and then also you must have heard about the cup, the styrofoam cup. Yes. One day, all of you will do something important. You become captains of industry, or you become somebody important in government, or doing something really great, doing charity work all over the world, giving back to society. So you'll be somebody. But you must remember this story about the styrofoam cup. You may have heard it, but maybe you have not. But I would like to tell you about this. When you are somebody, and when you are a titled person, you are famous, people look up to you and they give you the red carpet. So when you go anywhere, your cup will be special. You will have a special cup. That means in a bone china cup served to you, and so on and so forth. They may even ask you what kind of tea do you want. They have several types of tea, So you are regarded as somebody's famous, and they look up to you and they treat you well with respect, right? But you must always remember, you actually deserve only the styrofoam cup. Yes, because in life, when you have no more position, you're not famous anymore, people actually, being people, they do not give you that respect anymore. So when you go somewhere, nobody would come out to give you a bone china cup, but maybe they say, well, the cups are on the other end of the table, and then they might even just serve you the coffee in a styrofoam cup. because actually children, they're all of us, that's what we deserve, the styrofoam cup. But if you get a bone china cup, you say thank you, and you're grateful for that. But you must always learn to be humble, because in the end, you only deserve the styrofoam cup. Always remember this. So always, when you are somebody great, somebody big, you must always come down to earth. Your position is only the styrofoam cup. Remember that, children. So with that, I would like to say all the best, all of you. But before I go, I would like to say thank you very much to all the teachers. Yes, the teachers, the last 2 years, they have done so much for you. They have done so much in the name of Chempaka. And from the valedictorian speeches today, it's really great to hear stories, and somebody mentioned online that, oh man, he's snitching on us now, you know. Well, the thing is this, your friends are so dear to you. And I'm glad to hear Arif and Sulaiman talk so fondly of their friends, you know. Yes, all of you have got amazing character, some funny, and most of all, I think there's always that very strong friendship that you have built, and you can develop a long-lasting relationship. And I'm so happy that you've spoken so fondly of your teachers. Yes, they have done so much for you. And you, because of them, I think you are what you are now at this stage of your life. But you must always remember, in your life, you will have many, many role models from when you were young, in the family, your parents, your grandparents, your siblings. And then when you go to school, your friends, your teachers, and people around you. And if you read a lot of books, autobiographies, you can find lots of role models in all the books. So now, before you go, I think you should read about other people's experiences and then decide on what you want to do. Now, remember also that if you do something you do not like, and you work hard at something that you do not like, that is called stress. Yes. So find something that you like, or learn to love what you're doing, then that is called passion. So Chumpakans, like all the citations that was read just now, the 3 words that came out was nothing is impossible. So remember, Chumpakans, nothing is impossible. You can do anything, everything that you want, but always remember, do it with passion and not be in a very stressful situation when you work hard at something you do not like. But if you have something to do, and it's something that you really do not like, but you can learn to love it. You can learn to like it. You can learn to love it. That means, you know, find things that can make you love your job or whatever situation that you're in, and make it work. Then you can learn and discover passion. So with that, Chumpakans, I wish each and every one of you the very best. And remember, we have gone through 2 years of very tough situation in Malaysia, and it's actually in the whole world. And we are here today. So with that, we say, God bless. Thank you very much. So with that, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.
Thank you, Dato Frida. Ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of today's ceremony. We conclude this ceremony with the national anthem, Negaraku. Please rise in honor of the Negaraku. That concludes our virtual pre-university graduation ceremony for 2021. May Chempaka continue to flourish and be harum sumerba merata-rata. Let's remain united to fight against COVID-19 and keep our health a priority. May we stay connected amidst the separation. Thank you all for tuning in.